Since we've already done public comments, we're going to move right over to administration comments. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to thank the grant writers who have just this evening brought in $596,000 to the city, of which we would have to come up with another issue. We had a good week. Last week, we had finally cut the ribbon on Ann Street Village, and we will be beginning the process shortly of getting the first individuals into the facility, which is great. Should have been 5 or 6 months earlier, but I'll take what we can get. Tomorrow we have a blood drive. Anybody that's interested and can, please donate. We still have a shortage. Sorry for stealing your thunder, Angela. On Saturday, we had the Zoo Stampede Run with a great crowd, very, very well attended. We also unveiled a new branding for the zoo with our bison and Andean bear on the as the symbol. And this coming Tuesday, we have a neighborhood walk in the Pinehurst area. And what we do is we split up into groups and we go house to house to get people's feedback on what they envision for their neighborhood and the city. And on Thursday, we have a pop-up bus stop where this will be at Doverdale, this pop-up bus stop, and where we meet the students coming home on their buses. We get to meet some of their family members, and we provide them with light snacks. And it's a very good way for us to get into the city. The last thing I have to say is relative to a comment that I made last work session. You're correct. I did say that I had special care for people who are in the LGBTQ because it's impacted my family. But I also believe in the First Amendment. And that part you didn't hear. So understand where I'm coming from. And I think that's pretty much it for the night. Thank you.
Who is it this week?
Mine are short.
Okay,
so.
we'll start with Megan.
Yeah. So Jack touched on a bit this weekend. The Salisbury Zoo had the Earth Day celebration. It was a phenomenal turnout. I had a wonderful time seeing just the children and the family enjoy this community event. So I just say thanks to the city and the departments that made that event possible. And then I want to thank everyone who came out here today. I know public speaking is not easy. Coming from myself, this is probably the hardest part of the job is the public comment portion. But thank you all for coming out, providing your comments, your feedback. I 100% believe that local government, local communities thrive when the community at large comes to the table and we have these discussions. So thank you all.
Again, I just want to reiterate Ms. Alton with definitely thanking the public for coming out. It's very important for us to hear this. I think it's made an impact, and I think that there's going to be some revisiting and fine-tuning of some things, at least from my perspective. I just do want to say one thing. I am not aware of any legislation that limits any event from coming. I'm not aware of it. I must have been out of the loop. I don't know what this full discussion's about, but there is that correct? There's no legislation
There's no legislation pending,
okay.
And there won't be.
Okay, because I definitely am about free speech and so forth and so on. So I do want to remind everyone that tomorrow there is a press hearing or press session or what do you call it? Press release?
Press conference.
Press conference, excuse me, conference. Is that 11 a.m.?
Yes.
And it's more about the...
More details on the fire and life safety fee that's proposed in the budget.
Tune in about that. I'm unable to come. I actually am one of these employees. I've got a couple side hustles, but I'm actually at my full-time job tomorrow at 11 and won't be able to make it here. But please tune in to the press conference that does give more details, and I think that will help with some of the questions that were here. And And that's very important to be in tune with that. And I do appreciate people who've been online and have followed the agenda and have gone back and looked at the budgets. There were some very poignant things that were pointed out, and I tuned up on that very well, though. Just the other thing is, of course, I know the city has their blood drive tomorrow. Please come out if you're able to do that. Blood is extremely low in the area. It's at a critical point. If you are healthy enough, if you're fortunate enough to donate blood, and if you would consider donating organs, it's very, very important. 1 pint of blood can save up to 3 lives. So please do that. And again, thank you for everybody for coming out and being brave enough to make comments and sharing with us. That's very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't it right here? It's right here in the building?
It's in a bus outside the visitor center. Across the street.
Which is across the street from here. Across the street.
Across the street, right here.
Yep. Thank you.
Mrs. Gregory, you want to
Sure,
switch it up a little bit?
I just want to once again shout out the Housing and Community Development team for doing such an amazing job with Ann Street Village. This is going to make a real difference in the lives of a lot of people after experiencing being unhoused from COVID and other situations. You know, I'm hoping that we can get people on their feet, and this is a start. It's not the end product, it is a start. I want to make that clear because I've had some people ask me about it and say, oh, is this permanent housing? No, it's not. It's transitional. It will get people off the streets and into programs that they need to get them the help that they need. So I just want to give a shout out to them for what they've done and the monumental amount of work that they've put into this project. It's nothing short of remarkable. I want to address some of the comments that have been made, putting words in my mouth from last week. Last week when I spoke, I wanted to make sure that the city was not endorsing any type of religious event whatsoever, especially one that is being perpetuated by someone who has, yes, been designated by the Southern Poverty Law Center, among other organizations, as a hate group. Regardless of whatever good they have done, it has not undone the harm that their words and actions have done, and the work that they have done against our marginalized communities. Okay, it's not a ledger sheet that is balanced. Any harm, any group that does harm to any members of our community, no matter how prevalent they are in the community, is a harm that I will not stand for and will speak out against every single time. I have family, I have friends, I have loved ones who are in that community, and I will not ever stop standing up for them, and I want to make that clear. Nor did I ever suggest, nor has there ever been a suggestion of any kind of legislation. I believe in the First Amendment, and I think the internet and Facebook and all of these little groups out there who like to talk themselves into circles and make stuff up really, really, really need to actually engage with their legislators, with the people who represent them, and actually ask questions before coming up here and making accusations. Another thing I want to address, okay, is, folks, we understand. There's been a comment a few times. People have said that we said this is trivial. Nobody has said it is trivial. We know how hard this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt us too. Not one of us up here. We have folks who are on fixed income. We have folks who work. Every single one of us still has a full-time job. Okay?
And a side hustle.
And a side hustle. Maybe one or two.
2 or 3.
2 or 3. So, like, we all know. We're all feeling the pinch. We're all having to pay for the gas. We're all having to pay $5 for a dozen eggs, which thank God we can have chickens in the city still, right? Yeah, yeah. I still haven't convinced my husband of that. I don't know. We're working on it. But, you know, I really appreciate, like Megan said, it's not easy doing public speaking. It's downright difficult sometimes. And I really appreciate everybody who's come out and made their voices heard. And we're going to do our best to do the right things for everybody. We got to look out for our firefighters too. And, you know, one of the suggestions was making sure that this money is going to be earmarked for the fire department. I think that might be something that the administration, we might be able to talk about. That's something I would like to address, is make sure that that money is designated for the fire department, so that we've always said this, that we're not always going to be in these seats. We want to make sure that the right things that we do here are things that are done in the future, and nobody can undo them. So that said, I appreciate everybody coming out and making their voices heard. Thank you.
Joe. Ms. Jackson.
Good evening. We really appreciate you all coming out. You don't know how important this is. It's very important. It's very vital. I love to see people come and the constituents come and speak about what they feel is best for themselves and for our city. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have warmed my heart any more this evening than you have done. I tell people constantly, you have a voice, and your voice needs to be heard. You can talk through me all you want. I'm one person, but you're more powerful in numbers. And believe that you are. You've impacted me in such a way, you know, and I'm quite sure you've impacted the rest of the council. We thank you for your presence. We really, truly do. For every comment that was said, we thank you. Whether we liked it or not, we thank you. I thank you anyway, you know, because there are going to be things that we don't like. There are going to be things that we don't agree on. But we must agree to disagree and come together and do what's best for our citizens. And that's what we want to do for you all. We want to do what's best, and hearing from you all helps us. It really helps us. And I also want to reiterate the press conference tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Is it at the fire department? No. It's at the fire department at 11 o'clock. And I also want to reiterate, my delegate, Cherie Sample Hughes, will also be holding a town hall at the community center, the community foundation, at 6 o'clock. And our former mayor, which is now Secretary of Housing and Community, will also be there as well. So please come out, support. Did they turn me off? Please come out and support Cherie and the Secretary. Cherie has a lot of information that she would like to, you know, give to the community and whoever's in her district. We would love to see you there tomorrow, 6 o'clock at the Community Foundation. Thank you. You all have a blessed evening.
I'm sorry, Mayor, can I just say one more thing that I forgot to mention? I really, really hope, I want to point out that the county budget was presented to the county council last week, and I really, really hope to see you guys show up there and ask the county where your tax dollars are going.
That's right.
So I hope to see this big of a crowd at the county council meetings as well.
Yep, since they have not, to piggyback off that, the county has not provided funding to your volunteer fire companies in the city of Salisbury for years. For years.
Going on a decade, right?
Yeah, city residents have been for years subsidizing fire service to county residents. So we're trying to get a new fire service agreement, but there's no guarantees on that.
Their meeting is tomorrow.
No, their meeting is next Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. I'm not sure when they're doing their budget hearings, but.
So anyway, so we'll, you know, we're not the only ones. I mean, everybody's struggling, but when your so-called partner does not help you with that, it adds up. So another thing I would say also is it is allergy season. Please make sure
Yeah.
unlike me, do not forget to take your allergy medication.
At night.
Unfortunately, I won't be at the events tomorrow because I have to pay my mortgage at my main job, and I won't be able to donate any blood. But I don't know, Angela, if they want my liver.
No.
Just saying.
No,
So,
No.
No,
I'll screen it right
definitely
now.
not.
anyway, with that, I do want to, and I'm going to just publicly state that I stand with my friends in PFLAG and the LGBTQIA community. I am a friend, I am a partner, and I love you all, and we stand with you. So with that, we are adjourned.